It is day 6 of our online reading of Who Was Martin Luther King Jr. So today we're picking up on chapter 5 on page 36. All right, here we go. A peaceful fight. Integrating the buses in Montgomery had worked, but Martin Luther King Jr. knew that this was just the beginning. Martin and other black leaders met in Atlanta, Georgia. They formed a civil rights group called the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the SCLC. On February 14, 1957, Martin became the head of the group. In the South, civil rights leaders faced growing violence. One man's home was bombed. So were several churches. Then a service station and a cab stand were bombed. Martin urged everyone to remain calm. "We must not return violence under any condition," he said. He knew that his advice was hard to follow. Martin's speeches made him famous in Montgomery. Wherever he went, thousands of people showed up to hear him. People even ran up to him on the street to ask for his autograph. On May 17, 1957, Martin spoke at a gathering called the Prayer Pilgrimage in Washington, D.C. The march took place on the 3rd anniversary of the passage of the Brown versus the Board of Education. On the day of the march, thousands of black and white people gathered in front of the Lincoln Memorial. The speakers asked the government to pass a civil rights bill. This bill would guarantee all people in the United States equal rights under the law. So here's a picture of the speech in front of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. So you can see that there were all these people there just to hear Martin speak and not the other speakers. Okay. An important part of the civil rights bill would be to make sure that every adult citizen was allowed to vote. At the prayer pilgrimage, Martin said that that was the most urgent request to President Dwight Eisenhower. While Martin was marching and speaking, Coretta was busy running the King household. On October 23rd, their second child, Martin Luther King III, was born. Martin said of Coretta, "I am indebted to my wife, Coretta, without whose love, sacrifices, and loyalty, neither life nor work would bring fulfillment." By this time, Coretta wanted to be much more involved in the movement. Martin, however, preferred that she stay home raising their children. So here's a picture of little Martin Luther King III. I'll read this little excerpt after we're done with this part. In 1959, Martin did agree to take Coretta along on a trip to India. Martin wanted to see the land where his hero Gandhi had lived. As he traveled through the country, he saw that India was divided between the very poor and the very rich. Many people did not have jobs. Many slept out on the streets. Rich people, on the other hand, had beautiful homes and fancy clothes. Yet with so much poverty, there was peace among the people. Yes, they were poor, but they did not take their troubles out on anyone. So here's a picture of them in India. Martin visited some of the places that were special to Gandhi. He and his group went to a place called Bombay, and it was there that Gandhi had started to walk of more than 200 miles to protest attacks on salt. Gandhi's walk began with 8 people. The number grew to thousands. Some say that more than 1 million people ultimately joined the walk. Gandhi told his people, "If you are hit, don't hit back. Even if they shoot at you, don't shoot back. Just keep moving." So you can see how that's where Martin is getting a lot of his inspiration for this peaceful protest is from Gandhi. So remember, just because they were getting bombed in their homes or just because their taxi cars and things were getting bombed, Martin said, do not fight back, just like Gandhi said that when they were on their walk. Even if you're shot at, do not shoot, just keep walking. So that's that peaceful protest, okay? Martin had a wonderful experience in India. When he returned home, he was even more convinced of the power of peaceful protest. In 1959, the King family moved from Montgomery to Atlanta. It was hard to leave Montgomery, but Martin wanted more time for civil rights work. He could not be a full-time minister. He told his congregation, "History has thrust something on me which I cannot turn away." In Atlanta, Martin Luther King Jr. would become the co-pastor of the Ebenezer Baptist Church, his father's church. All right, so I'm going to go back and read that little part there. The 15th Amendment. So here is a picture that goes along with the 15th Amendment. In 1870, The 15th Amendment of the United States Constitution gave male U.S. citizens who were 21 or older the right to vote. Women, both white and black, did not get the right to vote until 1920. But all over the South, black people were still kept from voting. They were told that they had to pay a poll tax before they could vote. Many were too poor to pay. Some blacks had to take tests to prove that they could read and write. If they couldn't, they were turned away. They could not vote for president. They could not vote for Congress. They could not vote for local leaders. Not only was this unfair, it was against the law. So that's what they're fighting for. Equal rights for everyone, including the right to vote without all those tests beforehand. Okay, so that is the halfway point of chapter 5. So we will finish the rest of it tomorrow. All right, have a great day, guys.